Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, Lore and Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So, over the past couple of weeks, there has been a very, very big push among the corrupt gaming industry, journalism industry, that Nintendo Switch was on the way out, that it was old, that it was tired, that it was time to be replaced, that Nintendo was preparing for a Switch 2. I've seen a number of videos from individuals like Review Tech USA or RGT85, Adam Sessler, I'm sure, has commented on this. Razor Fist acknowledged this. I've seen all sorts of like weird individuals on Twitter and on YouTube pushing this conspiracy, this baseless claim that people have stopped playing the Switch, that it's just not very popular anymore, and that it's time for something new, and that Nintendo in the very near future will announce a Switch 2. That Switch will be completely replaced by this new ultra powerful piece of hardware that can compete with the heavy hitters that are the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So this is, of course, like nothing new. We've been hearing this for years. It's been going on so long that like we saw the narrative more from like the Switch Pro is going to be released to Nintendo is going to release a straight up new console. So this has been going on forever. Honestly, you can trace this back entire console generations, right? This has always been like the narrative when it comes to discourse regarding Nintendo products. The 64 can't compete with the PS2. The GameCube can't compete with the PS2. The Wii can't compete with its competitors. Even though these consoles do perfectly well for themselves and make plenty of money, there is always this agenda from the gaming journalism industry to make it look like Nintendo is struggling financially, that they're not going to be able to remain relevant. And now, you know, that narrative has completely collapsed among itself, because right when they were getting ready to like really ramp up the Switch 2 propaganda, pretending that Nintendo is on the verge of announcing a brand new console specifically because of declining Switch sales, Nintendo goes ahead and admits that they're planning on producing more Switches this year than they have previously, guaranteeing that they have essentially no plans on releasing Switch anytime soon. Now, obviously, this happens basically every year. They release some kind of statement, usually at like an investors meeting or maybe some other event where they confirm that no, the Switch is not being replaced. It's still going strong. We are going to continue supporting it. And yet, the narrative continues to persist. No matter what Nintendo says, and especially not what they actually do, these people are going to keep insisting that Nintendo is struggling and needs to evolve and grow with the times and just do what the other guys are doing. They need to make a console exactly like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, because those are the industry defining generation defining experiences, not the old tired dinosaur that is the Nintendo Switch. It's a complete joke. Like I am playing Fire Emblem Engage literally right now. I'm actually just about to take a break from it, and I can tell you that Engage is gorgeous, really evolves the Fire Emblem formula, is a big step up from Three Houses in a lot of ways, and is going to sell a ton of units. Okay, this game is not going to benefit from a new piece of hardware. It's not going to sell more. It's not going to somehow magically become like this 30 million selling franchise. Like it's succeeding because the Switch is the most popular console on the market and Fire Emblem is a big property. Like, we need to grow past this idea that Nintendo is somehow holding their games back or that there's something wrong with Nintendo platforms, because that has never been true. Let's be real here. The companies that are actually causing the problems in the gaming sphere, they're the Microsofts, they're the Sonys, they're the Ubisofts, they're the EAs, they're the Activision Blizzards, they're the Konamis, they're the Square Enixes, they're the Capcoms. Like, Nintendo is not the company causing the problems. And I think it says a lot that the vast majority of Nintendo critics, the people who are like most vocally opposed to the company, are people who clearly don't play any notable Nintendo experiences at all. And it really is becoming very apparent if you see these people and how they conduct themselves online. Like it's interesting seeing people like say RGT85, people like the BitBlock, people like Frash from Video Games Awesome. Like it's interesting seeing these people try to say completely seriously, I don't care about Xenoblade. I don't care about Fire Emblem. I don't care about anime shit. Zelda is just a rehash of Skyrim. They need to show us something new. They need to show us something impressive. They need to show us something for a triple A audience. They need to show us a game rated M for mature. We need Metroid to be exactly like Halo. Again, that's kind of been like a dead narrative for years, but it's the same. It's the same like mindset, right? In 2002, that was how Metroid Prime was downplayed because it should be more like Halo instead of appreciating Metroid Prime for what it was with its like incredibly deep world building and like immersive gameplay. Like, oh, it's not exactly like Halo. It doesn't have like cooperative multiplayer and it doesn't have like it's not really a military based game. So it's not as appealing to the masses, and that makes it bad. Instead of like acknowledging that like Metroid is a great game in its own right, right? Instead of being fans of both and like appreciating both approaches to game design and like what they experience, like the Metroid approach was seen as bad. And the Halo one was seen as like cool, innovative, and industry defining, right? And now it's interesting how Microsoft is quite literally laying off people at 343 Studios who destroyed the Halo IP over the past decade of handling it. How Microsoft is like doing all these stunts. Scalebound was canceled, Game Pass is a failure. They're acquiring all these studios and doing nothing with them. Microsoft is like showing so many more signs of failing than Nintendo is, and yet somehow nobody is really being critical of them at all. Everyone is just fabricating this narrative that the Switch is outdated, needs to be replaced, and that nobody wants to play it anymore. That is completely 100% absurd. It's ridiculous. Not only is Switch going to remain popular in the foreseeable future, I foresee Switch is going to be like the defining console for families for a long time. These people are going to have these things lying around their homes forever, and you can imagine they're going to like whip them out playing like Zelda, Nintendo Switch Sports, or Mario Odyssey for years to come. They won't necessarily rebuy those games on the new platforms. It's very possible that Switch will be a console that's supported in some capacity for a long time, like far longer than I think most people are expecting. And yet here we are, barely 6 years into it, and yet these guys are already pretending that the Switch is done and that its demise is imminent. We saw this with Wii U, we saw this with 3DS, we saw this with Wii, we saw this with GameCube, GBA, Nintendo DS. Like, these people need to stop. It's embarrassing. And I have gotten tired of it a very, very long time ago.